Now, Brett, we talked about some college football at the top of the show with Maction going on Wednesday night. Before we get into the Thursday, Friday, Saturday games, do you have an update on how your Buffalo game is going, which is the only game from our episode 89 picks that hasn't been decided yet?
Well, they say don't sing until the game. The fat lady doesn't sing till the game's over, right? But it's 49-30 with 21 seconds left.
So are you singing?
I'm not singing yet because there's still time on the clock, but I feel pretty good that my minus 9.5 is gonna hit in this one. No guarantee, but we're feeling pretty good, Higgins.
Yep, and considering Buffalo has the ball, I think that you should be safe with your 9.5. You don't have to sing. Maybe I'll sing for you. But Thursday, we have Utah State at Nevada, Wyoming at Colorado State. Now, I am not going to be on either of those games, but remember Utah State because, Brett, on Friday, you and I are both on the BYU versus Boise State game. And frankly, I don't understand how you're on the other side of me on this one because BYU is 7-0. Boise State is 2-0. And I don't know what's so impressive about Boise State's 2 wins against Utah State and Air Force.
Well, Boise State preseason was thought to have much more talent than BYU, so I'm not going to penalize them because their conference didn't start when an independent started. But
the proof is in the pudding, sir.
The proof is in the pudding. But I'll say this, man. BYU's got to travel up to Boise. I do not know 100% what the fan situation is going to be like, but I imagine there will be fans there in some capacity, probably a limited capacity. And traveling up to Boise is not easy. The team's good. The turf is blue. And those fans, if there are any in there, they'll be loud. They'll have some effect on the game. And I just like Boise State at home with the points. It really doesn't have much to do with the opponent. BYU's been great this season, to your point. Their quarterback, Zach Wilson, I believe is his name. He's been unbelievable this year. He's the first true freshman to ever start a game at BYU. Now, I believe in his second or third year as their quarterback, really come into his own. But I'm going to take the program that I've seen win at home on Thursday night, week in and week out, probably over the last 15 years, and that's Boise State.
See, BYU, their defense is what's selling me on this. The unproven Boise State, who has beaten a 1-2 Air Force team and an 0-2 Utah State team, has me on the fence with how good they can actually be. Now, yes, they deserve their ranking because of what was expected to come from them this season. However, BYU's defense through 7 games is averaging less than 2 touchdowns per game to be given up. The offense is just running away with games. This BYU team, it's just night and day when you have offense and defense out there of the offense is going to score and the defense is going to stop you. And so until Boise plays a top quality defense like that, which Air Force and Utah State don't have, I'm going to go with the BYU minus 2.5. So it looks like we're going to be on opposite sides of this one, and one of us is going to be a winner.
Yeah, I don't want to scare you, but I had the Giants plus 12.5.
Well, it's payback time now. It's payback.
It could very well be payback time. I just wanted to get that little shot in.
Hey, I'm not a fan of BYU or Boise State in this one, so I'm not clouding my judgment trying to be neutral and picking the other side.
There you go. No, I love it. And you know what? What's a podcast between two friends if you can't make a joke, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take a look at our Saturday games, though, because we have some great conference play coming up. I like some of these Big Ten matchups, specifically Michigan, Indiana, and Michigan is going to get bumped out of the top 25 here. They're going to lose to Indiana, take the Hoosiers plus 130 on the money line. And I mean, Michigan gets ranked early in the season because they have an expectation with that program based off of the history and what Harbaugh does. They typically perform rather well. However, they lost to Michigan State already this year, which is a big loss for them. Should have them rather focused in this game, which is the only part that really scares me. But their one win is against number 21 Minnesota, who just lost to Maryland, who is abysmal and only scored 3 points against Northwestern in their first game. So I
Yeah,
don't think Michigan has a good quality opponents. Meanwhile, Indiana upset number 8 Penn State at home to start their season and then got a good win at Rutgers. I'm going to take Indiana.
yeah, I like everything you said, Higgins. This is a stay away from me personally because I have this feeling like it's a letdown spot for Indiana coming off that Penn State game, but I just don't know if you really let down for Michigan. Like you get up for Michigan if you're
Yeah.
Indiana. So from that perspective, it's just a stay away from me. And honestly, if Indiana wins this game, I'll probably be betting on them a lot more because they'll have my respect.
The
Winning
proof will
those
be in the
two
pudding.
games. Exactly. The proof, they'll be like BYU. The proof will be in the pudding. But speaking of Northwestern, because you mentioned them, I'm actually betting on them this weekend, Higgins.
Okay.
Pat Fitzgerald is 2-0. It's going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff in Chicago, no fans. Nebraska's coming to down. This is the sleep through. Nebraska doesn't play in these games where it's 11 a.m. kickoffs and there's no one in the stadium. This is exactly the game that Northwestern wins. They're 3.5 point favorites. I think they cover that. I think they win this one easy, to be honest with you. I think Nebraska will be sleepwalking in this one, and Northwestern comes out probably, in my mind here, 10-point victory.
Now, I'm going to be rooting for the Huskers in this game. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we,
I
we
mean,
know
go
I
Big
lived
Red.
in Nebraska. My dog's named Husker, so I'd be wrong to not root for the Huskers in this game. I'm going to stay away from it because you bring up some good points, but personally, I would expect Nebraska to come out very focused, very angry, and very determined after not only not being able to play Wisconsin last week, but the Big Ten refusing to let them schedule a non-conference game when they potentially had one set up and agreed to with another school. I would not be surprised if Nebraska plays every single one of these Big Ten games with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Now, Northwestern 2-0, good program, potentially could get their name in a conversation with a third win here being 3-0. It is worrisome. Like you said, it's a noon kickoff,
11 a.m. in Chicago.
11 a.m. in Chicago. But that's the same time that a morning kickoff would be in Nebraska, by the way. So
Oh,
they are used to the central time zone part there.
I just didn't know. Do they give Lincoln, Nebraska, like a noon kickoff time? I didn't realize they would do that. I thought they'd move
When
them
they
to
play like
3:30.
Bethune Cookman,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
they'll occasionally get the noon kickoff. It's
Yeah.
typically with some of their non-conference games that they're supposed to demolish.
Okay. I yeah. They always struck me as like a 3:30 kind of kickoff team, so like a two
Yeah,
thirty local time.
yeah. They don't always get those low times. They do a lot against Northwestern, though.
Yeah,
Actually,
Northwestern gets them against everyone, and that's how Northwestern survives, man. No one's ready to play football at 11 a.m. Northwestern is. That's their time.
well, my other pick that I have, and I've picked them on multiple occasions, so I don't feel like I really need to explain this pick a lot. But Cincinnati, man, Cincinnati has been really good this year. 5-0, 3-0 in conference. They're 3-2 against the spread, though. The only thing that really has me worried against Houston, because I am taking them minus 13.5 against Houston. But Cincinnati, number 6 in the nation, they are eyeing a college football playoff scenario, and they are really trying hard to get their name in that conversation in this really weird 2020 season that may offer the opportunity for a mid-major to get there. And so, because of that, I think every game is circled on their calendar. They're truly going week by week. I like how Cincinnati's been approaching this season, and I think they're going to get that 2 touchdown win that they need to cover.
Higgins, I love everything you said. And the extra motivation for Cincinnati is the fact that BYU, as an independent, is also trying to get into the college football playoff. And those two teams competing against each other really create a scenario where neither one can afford to look unimpressive, because if you look unimpressive one week, you're getting jumped by the other one. And if you look bad or just win by the skin of your teeth, so both teams have to bring it every week. That being said, I'm not sure if I fully believe both will go undefeated. You know what I mean? Someone will slip up along the line, but that doesn't mean it needs to be this weekend. Both those teams could certainly win this weekend. Both those teams could certainly cover this weekend, but I think you're right. I think they're coming to bring it every week.
I'm sure they'll be focusing on each other a lot too, to your point. I mean, Cincinnati will probably be tuning into BYU pretty heavily on Friday, and BYU on Saturday, most of their eyes will probably be on that Cincinnati game because you're right. They are absolutely dependent on each other of where they're going to be in that top 10 ranking. And if one slips, the other one is the lone standing star that, if they finish the season undefeated, has a chance. And personally, I'd give Cincinnati the slight edge to BYU, mainly because they'll have a conference championship game to play and BYU won't.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a great reason why that would be a great deciding factor, honestly. But I'm on a few more college football games this weekend, Higgins. I actually couldn't get enough college football. I'm sure I'll even bet on a few more games because what a great slate we have with the Pac-12 back. We had the MAC return on Wednesday, so it was really the full swing of college football now. And I'm going to start off in Big 12 country. We got West Virginia traveling to UT Austin, and the Longhorns are minus 250 on the money line. Pretty big favorites here, but I'm more interested in the over-under in this one at 55.5. Personally, I don't think either of these teams play great defense, and both offenses can score a lot of points, so 55.5 seems well within reason of this game.
Well,
Another game.
to keep using the term of the day for me of proof is in the pudding, the Big 12 hits overs. The
that's
proof is there. The
that's
proof
actually
is
their
there.
slogan, Higgins. Come to the Big 12, hit overs.
Big 12, ... we hit overs.
We hit overs. That's the commercial. I don't. If they air anything else on during college football Saturdays, they're doing it wrong.
I agree.
We didn't tune into the Big 12 for unders. That is for certain. Probably the biggest game of the day is Clemson at Notre Dame. Maybe lost a little bit of the shine without Trevor Lawrence, but
Who's replacing Trevor?
My guy DJ.
And what's his last name?
DJU, number 5, man. He can scoot. You're gonna get me to say ukulele. That's close. That's not terrible.
Ukulele, I think is how it is.
Ukulele. I apologize, DJ. I'm not trying to butcher your name. I think you're a very talented kid.
Uyagale.
Uyagale. That could definitely be it. Anyway, I think Clemson minus 5.5 is the play here. Our guy DJ was a 5-star quarterback recruit as well, Higgins. He is no slouch. They still have Travis Etienne. They still have Amari Rodgers. They still have Justin Ross. They still have that defense. They still have that O-line. So Clemson minus 5.5 traveling up to South Bend. Give me that. And then over 51.5. I think that's in play too. I don't think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think both these teams are going to come fired up and eager to score. So I'm expecting some points in this one, and I'm expecting the Clemson to not dominate per se, but to win convincingly and prove that they're the best team in the ACC this year.
I like it, and I think the entire ACC, this is going to be the one time that they're all rooting for Clemson because I don't think anyone in the ACC wants to let Notre Dame come into the conference for 1 year, run ship all season long, and then just leave with a conference championship. And no, we're going to be independent again this year. Thanks for letting us play, though. Thanks. We appreciate it. Bye bye now. Yeah, no. Everyone in the ACC should be rooting for Clemson in this game. I will be rooting for the Orange. I'll have a Syracuse shirt on, an orange Syracuse shirt on, rooting for Clemson in this one. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence's backup can take on the senior Ian Brooks. So that's gonna be a tall task.
Yeah, and
Ian Book, sorry.
speaking of orange schools going up against Catholic schools, our Syracuse Orange take on the BC Eagles. We're plus 14.5. I would lean BC minus 14.5. That's just a lean. That's not a pick or anything, but we're talking about Orange versus Catholic, so why not? And then my last game, UCLA at Colorado, because I needed to be on a Pac-12 game. Higgins, the Pac is back. So I'm going to take Colorado at home. UCLA and Chip Kelly travel to altitude. They did not look good at all last season. And I'm going to assume they still don't look good. Colorado's coach Mel Tucker left from Michigan State in the offseason, so new coach. UCLA's never seen it before. Could be a few wrinkles in there. I like Colorado at home with the points.
Okay. Kind of like with how I sat back and watched them action before giving a pick in week 1 of their season. I'm gonna do the same with the Pac-12 here. I'll definitely have my eye on the Ducks and the Beavs since I'm in Oregon right now, see how they play. I'm hearing a lot of sports talk talking up the Beavs. So let's see how they do. Both of these teams, though, they have new quarterbacks in their systems, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they come out to a little bit of a rough start early on.
Shout out the Beavs. Luton's getting a start for the Jaguars. The Beavs getting talked up in Oregon. Wow. Great week to be a Beaver.
Absolutely. Stepping out of the shadow of the Ducks is always nice for Oregon State because the Ducks definitely get a majority of the attention, so it's always nice when the Beavs get their deserved credit outside of baseball season.
Adley Rushman, number 1 overall, so that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know any other Oregon State players, but Adley Rushman, there we go.